The salutatory address will be given by honor graduate and salutatorian Michael Anthony Vargas.
Good evening to all. Whoever said a kid from El Jardín could never make it up here, well, proving probably the entire city of San Benito wrong. Here you find me, a product of this very environment and neighborhood, delivering to you a speech. I am proud to say that I grew up in a neighborhood as I did, a neighborhood rich in togetherness, especially the good people that stuck together no matter what. Hence my friends and teachers from Frank Roberts Elementary. When this senior class, my senior class, our senior class, first arrived here on this very earth, Ronald Reagan was our president and VHS recorders had just made the scene. We have without a doubt come a long way, and we together have lived through major events. The O.J. Simpson trial, the deaths of a princess and a pope, hanging chads, and 9/11. Our world continues to grow and change, and like it or not, we are going to be a part of that inevitable growth and change. I think we all have it within us to make a difference. We need to work every day to make that difference, even if it was just a small one, because that small step may indeed become a giant leap. I believe it's up to each individual sitting here tonight to either choose to make a difference or to sit idly by as things move forward. At our class reunion in about 10 to 15 years, I don't want to hear complaints about the state of our world unless you walked into that voting booth at the last election and made yourself heard. Unfortunately, on a personal note, the re-election of George W. wasn't something I was looking forward to. But believe it or not, John Kerry will remain something special to me. After those right-wingers continue to taunt me about flip-flops and Botox, I try not to feel bad for myself. And just remember when Ms. Schaefer told me she had voted for Richard Nixon her first time. Go figure. We are the class of 2005, but we are much more than that. Please understand that we together constitute every aspect of the spectrum of endeavors, going out into the real world as athletes, musicians, singers and actors, dancers, authors, scholars, and artists. Each of us can find something within us to make a difference. Go out there and establish your own spectrum of success in society. I speak for other salutatorians and optimists in the world that no matter what, we are so ready for the real world. At this time, some of you parents may be taken aback. Some of you might be saying, my son, my daughter, the one who had to be woken up 3 times every morning. My answer to you, ladies and gentlemen, is most certainly yes. Agreed, some of us need to grow up a bit more, some more than others for that matter. Nevertheless, members of our class of 2005, on the other hand, have encompassed a sense of a maturity, because I'm sure each of us have dealt with tragedies and adversities head on. I'd like to take this time to thank all the individuals that altruistically held out a helping hand during a difficult time when my father passed away. Understand, it was the hardest time ever in my entire life. Losing my 3-year valedictory reign by half a grade point was only a minor thing in life compared to the loss of my father. But I'm sure he's in a better place now and has a better seat for my graduation than anybody else here tonight. I just hope to continue making him proud because that's what all his friends would say, how much he loved to brag about his son. Just remember, Dad, I love you and I always will. Just take care of me while I'm in Rhode Island. Mom, it's gonna be tough letting go of your youngest son. Thank you for making those sacrifices just to keep me happy. And the worst times we always experience, they were never worse for me because I always had you there to keep me smiling. Mom, I love you and you will be my driving force and inspiration to do phenomenal at Brown. Let me take this time to tell you, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Let me take this time to tell you about someone, Mr. Jesus Amaya, my principal, my administrator, leader, but most importantly, a dear friend who also lost his father at age 17. Taught me a lesson during this time of grief. After coming back from recovery and I was practicing on the marching field with the band, I remember like it was yesterday. It felt so surreal. He walked out onto the field in his coat and tie during the summer in 100-degree weather and personally told me that he was sorry for his loss. You see, things like that happen in life because Something like that really happened in life can really lift you up and teach you that you always have someone to understand you, because you are never alone in any unfortunate time. It is sometimes not easy for some of us yet we understand before each other today, ready for what comes tomorrow. As classmates, we have grown in friendship and respect for one another, helping each other when the world laid down upon our shoulders. This year, out of any other year, has proved to me that there is such thing as best friends. Guys, and you know who you are, words can't possibly describe the love and admiration I have for each and every one of you. As many great friends that I'm going to meet at Brown, I just want you all to know that nobody, absolutely nobody, will ever replace you all. I would also like to thank some people, for today is one of the greatest days of our lives. People that have laid the very foundation to my success. Mrs. Kithcart, how can I possibly thank you for everything you have done? Your selfless and altruistic acts as my counselor have really placed you at the top of a list incomparable to any other. Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Boudron, who I can only begin to describe as my second parents, thanks for always being there for me and treating me like a son, even though I was a Democrat. Mrs. Menchaca, Mrs. Susie Menchaca, I would have been lost without your help and bored without those witty, unforgettable, and hilarious conversations we always had. Of course, those gentlemen standing or sitting right over there with the band, who are like fathers with a big family. They taught me a lesson about life, and that is to always reach for the stars no matter what. Mr. Salazar, Mr. Chapa, Dr. Gavin, Mr. Fee, thank you for everything. Mrs. Escobedo, my third grade teacher, Ms. Mary Alice Martinez, Ms. Rangel, a mentor. Mr. and Mrs. Diaz, Mrs. Mendez, wherever you're at, Javier and Julie, my youth group sponsors at St. Joseph, and Mrs. Salinas, my religious mentor. Thank you, all of you, and anybody else I failed to mention. In fact, the people that brought me down towards the end of the year, in the most sarcastic demeanor, I say thank you for serving as a barrier and learning from it. I'm also going to miss a lot of things. Heck, who would have thought I can pull off Queen Latifah during Powder Puff and be swing dancing with San P? And believe me, my version of Juliana's Janet Jackson will never go away. I'll take that with me to Brown. So thank you, Juliana. I'm also certainly going to miss Mrs. Herrera's laugh and her constant willingness to get Alex in the White House by getting her to marry me. Yeah, don't ask. Going to school in a whole other environment, I will always brag that I grew up in a place like nowhere else, a place that encompasses the rich tradition and values of family. To my irreplaceable brothers, Gilbert and Joey, also Lucy and Andy, words can't even begin to describe the way I felt about having you all there to help me out. As my older brothers and sister-in-laws, I owe part of my success and my being up here to you all. Thanks for everything. Well, we have finally finished high school and are ready to start living. Probably more than half of the class have plans to pursue higher education, and several have enlisted in the armed forces. Today, graduation is a celebration of all those accomplishments. Commencement implies a new beginning, a new path, new opportunities. Trust me when I say that it is not always easy to face the future with strength and courage. Take strength from your roots as the latest in a long stream of students who have passed through San Benito High School. Find courage from all those who have come before you and give hope to those who are to come in your footsteps. What will you do so that 100 years from now, people will be able to speak your name? Your answer is to rely on yourself as a youth. Not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, of the appetite for adventure over the love of ease. Each time a man sits before an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And I believe that in this generation, those with the courage to enter the moral conflict will find themselves with companions in every corner of the globe. If you have no confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Without confidence, you have won even before you have started. We have formed friendships that will last a lifetime and have developed interests that will last the rest of our lives, no matter how far away each of us go. I'm sure we've been offered numerous challenges. The $1 million question lies within each of us. Are we willing to embrace these challenges, Are we willing to embrace the change? Are we ready and willing to take on the incredible possibilities that are out there in the real world? Are we the agents of change, or are we content to merely be disgruntled defenders of the status quo? I think I know the answer. And after tonight, hopefully you all will too, as I leave you to ponder the words of Robert F. Kennedy. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? My fellow peers of 2005, be good and be successful out there. It has been a pleasure. Thank you and good night.